On this edition of inCycle, we look back at the dominant sprint train at HTC High Road.
From the best rider to the boss driver knew, now we really got the six-shooter on our head. Now we have to perform or it's over.
The 104th Tour de France is upon us. What lies in store in 2017?
Froome is the favourite. He has definitely the strongest team, but I don't see him being in the same form as he's been in previous years, and so that could make it a little bit more of an even battle.
But first, one of the quickest women on two wheels, Jolien D'Hoore.
I'm Jolien D'Hoore, I'm 27 years old, I'm a cyclist for Wiggle High Five, and I'm a sprinter.
One of the fastest finishers in the women's peloton, Jolien D'Hoore has been enjoying a run of good form even by her high standards, with a Belgian national title to add to 3 stage victories and an overall win in the Women's World Tour so far this year.
Yeah, it started really well. We had a nice victory with the team for Elisa Longo Borghini and Strade Bianche. So it started off really good for the team. I wanted to start the season like in a good condition, in a good shape. And I think I managed it quite well. And then I tried to keep my shape the whole classic season. Actually, every week I wanted to win, but that's not possible, of course. And yeah, once in a while I could take a few victories, and I'm very happy until so far.
And she further lived up to her Belgian Bullet nickname when she went to the major sprinters stage race, the Tour of Chongming Island, in May.
Yeah, it was quite hectic actually. I had a crash on the first day, at the first stage. And then we decided to go for Nettie in the sprint. And she was 4th after the first stage. And then I said, yeah, I'm feeling okay after my crash. I was bruised and I was battered a bit, but I was still okay to race on. And then the team worked for me in stage 2, and I took the victory. And then the same for stage 3, and then the overall victory. It was quite a big victory, and I didn't expect it after stage 1, after my crash. So me and the team was very happy with it. I wasn't feeling really well after my victory, physically then. But yeah, it was so good, especially because it's a World Tour race and it's so important for the team as well. And yeah, I didn't expect it. I just wanted to go full gas, and I just wanted to give my all. And luckily it was each day a bunch sprint, so it suited me very well. And yeah, I was really happy with the victory.
And D'Hoore will be hoping to continue her winning streak after her stage win in London at the Women's Tour. That took her to a total of 3 World Tour victories so far this season.
Of course, because it's a race in the UK. I'm riding for a British team, British sponsors, so it's really important for them as well. And it's one of the biggest stage races for women in the year. And it was a really hard one, long stages, really tough course. But I enjoyed it, and the atmosphere and the crowds were amazing the whole week. And then we came in London, and it was like a big criterium, a lot of crowds, and they just gave me goosebumps. The race was really fast, really hard as well, like each day. And it was a bunch sprint, so I just went for it, and luckily I won. Yeah, you can never win enough races, but I'm pretty pleased so far. Of course, I want to win a few bigger ones, but yeah, we have to see. My biggest goal for the second half of the season are the European Championships in Denmark. It's a flat race, maybe windy race, I don't know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Europeans.
But D'Hoore doesn't just thrive on the road. She and her Belgian track teammate Lotte Kopecky took gold in the Madison at this year's UCI World Championships.
Yeah, it was a big goal of us. We worked for it the whole winter, and we did a lot of trainings in the Madison, me and Lotte. And we also did a lot of Madison training with the boys, just to learn the skills and the hand slings, and it was really beneficial for us. And yeah, we were in a good shape at Worlds, and it worked out really well, and yeah, we won. So now we are also very, very happy that it's an Olympic event, and that's our biggest goal now in the coming 3 years. For me, it's a perfect combination. I just need my track preparation for the road, and also, yeah, like the opposite. Without the track, I wouldn't be that good on the road, and especially not that fast on the road. So, yeah, I will continue doing that, and I just love it, and yeah, that's why I do it.
With the Tour de France getting underway this weekend, Team Sky's Chris Froome goes into the race as the overall favourite. However, there'll be no shortage of challengers hoping to stop the Kenyan-born Brit from claiming his 4th title in the space of just 5 years.
Froome is the favourite. He has definitely the strongest team, but I don't see him being in the same form as he's been in previous years, and so that could make it a little bit more of an even battle. I mean, Nairo Quintana goes into every Grand Tour as a favourite. He's got an unbelievable record. He's finished 2nd twice in the Tour de France, 3rd once. His only real disaster was when he crashed out the Vuelta a couple of years ago, but he's incredibly consistent. He's already ridden the Giro. You would expect with most riders that would have an effect on their performance at the Tour. With Quintana, I'm not so sure. I mean, we saw a much better Quintana last year at the Vuelta than we'd seen at the Tour. So it's possible that he could be better at the Tour than he was at the Giro. Alejandro Valverde, it's been all about the Tour de France for him this year. He wasn't very good at the Dauphiné, but it's possible that he went in there tired from training very hard. He's been in outstanding form this year. So the two of them, Valverde and Quintana, could be a very potent force. I think they can work well together, but only if one of them doesn't have a chance of winning. And if both of them feel they've got a chance of winning, then you've got a problem. We've seen that time and time again in races. But I think Quintana is the real threat to Chris Froome at the Tour de France. And Richie Porte's never finished on the podium of a Grand Tour, which people tend to forget when they talk about him as a favourite for the Tour. I think he would be delighted to finish on the podium at the Tour de France, and that could influence the way that he rides the race, because finishing on the podium would be a first for him. It would be a great achievement, and there may be a point in the race where he is faced with a choice of gambling to try and win the race overall and perhaps losing that spot on the podium, or riding in a relatively conservative way to hold that spot on the podium. So he's got the talent, but he doesn't have the experience of riding consistently every day for 3 weeks. He's still got to do that. You don't want to write Contador off, but it has looked this season that he is fading finally. So I'm not sure what we'll see from Contador at the Tour. All I know is that even if he doesn't have a chance of winning, I think he'll still light up the race. And I think that later on in the 3rd week, we'll see Contador attacking in unlikely places, dragging groups clear, and being very aggressive as we know that Contador is. And I think, like I said earlier, even if he isn't in a position to win the race or even finish on the podium, I can see him having an impact on the outcome. Romain Bardet was 2nd last year, and finishing 2nd on the Tour, as everybody says, means that on paper you can win the Tour. I don't think Bardet has really stepped on this year. We might see a different Bardet at the Tour, but he's had a bit of a poor season, and I think if he finishes top 5 or top 6, he'll be quite happy. One of the things a lot of people were looking forward to this year was the Orica Scott Challenge. Esteban Chavez and Simon Yates will lead the team at the Tour. Chavez, unfortunately, has been out for a lot of the year with injury and doesn't seem to be in the sort of form that will put him anywhere near the podium. But with Simon Yates as well, you know, as a potential top 3, top 5 rider, together they could ride pretty well and have an impact on the race. Fabio Aru's coming back from injury, rode very well at the Dauphiné. I don't see him really challenging overall, but certainly lighting up a few stages and perhaps claiming a stage win along the way. There's a few surprises, like Primož Roglič, the rider on the Team Lotto NL Jumbo team, former ski jumper who has really made huge strides the last couple of years, and I can see him having a very strong Tour de France. A couple of young riders to look out for as well, Pierre Latour, AG2R, and then Marc Soler at Movistar. I think we could see something from them at this Tour. I think and I hope that the race will be open up. It would be great if it was like the Giro, which obviously was open and up for grabs until the final day. We've got a time trial on the penultimate day at the Tour de France this year, and it'd be fantastic if going into that there are 3 or 4 riders still in contention. Whether that happens or not, who knows? We just don't know.
Well, I used to work for T-Mobile in the wireless business for a number of years, and they obviously had a big sponsorship. We had a chance to emulate some of that with American women, and then had a chance to take over the men's team, which we did, and tried to build it into the best team in the world.
First time I met Bob Stapleton was on a VIP event at the Tour de France, and I was injured. I didn't ride the Tour myself, so I was still an active professional, and we went up the Tour called the Tourmalet, and on top is a restaurant, and so yeah, I looked a little bit after the telecom guests by that time, and he was one of them.
So my first memory of Bob Stapleton was I thought he was a mechanic. I met him, I think first time 2003, San Francisco. 4, 5. I always thought he was a mechanic. I mean, he sold his company and he became our new boss, the owner of High Road. We came from T-Mobile, was probably, my point of view, the most beautiful, the biggest team ever, best looking team ever. I was really proud of working for the team. And okay, we folded and suddenly we got that American taken over, but he was very dedicated and he was asking non-stop. Already when I thought he was a mechanic, he was always asking questions, and I thought that was a lot of questions from a mechanic, but he was a friendly guy.
If you want to use business terms, I mean, everybody says that people are their most important asset. Well, in a sports environment, particularly one where they are living and training together hundreds of days a year, the people are everything. They're the assets, they're the product, if you will. And the skill really of the management team is to get 8 guys together that can race like 10.
The team folded, and the year after we came out with High Road, what became High Road, and probably the most ugly jersey I've seen in my life. When I saw it, my eyes was bleeding. You know, nothing was working. I mean, we lost Audi, our proud sponsor. I mean, everybody had an Audi with T-Mobile. The year after, we didn't even have a car sponsor. I mean, we rented a car in Mallorca, the first training camp. Small cars like Opel Kadett. I mean, the mechanic didn't even have a space inside for spare wheels. Ugly was jersey, no team cars. First ride on the training camp, the seat post, what we call the bordure of the bike pad, or the seat post was breaking off the bikes. Nothing was working, and I really thought, like, how we ever gonna win a race? It's gonna be the worst season in history. And we had that young kid called Greipel, and he was winning, and he won, and he won. Then we started with Cavendish, and he was winning. Suddenly we won like 60, 70, 80, almost 90 races a year, and we didn't even have a superstar, so it was quite amazing.
It was a good time. I mean, imagine 2 of the world's best sprinters, you know, beginning their careers or early on in their careers in the same team. It was, you know, every race we went to, we had a possibility of winning a race.
Yeah, in the sprint trains there was it's always we had good riders and also good riders for time trials, and also sprint train was not many teams that could challenge us in lead-outs. So that was always fun to do lead-out trains with all the strong riders and experienced riders, and be a part of winning that match.
I nearly didn't get a contract when the team was still Telecom. I'd already signed before. I was with T-Mobile Development before, and then actually, yeah, I had offers from other teams before I turned professional, and actually my contract from Telecom nearly ended before I even started.
Well, Mark Cavendish was at the edge to sign him or not to sign him. But because that was really in a rush. That was already 2007. There were pre-agreements in place, and we've seen him in the Tour of Britain. And we said, okay, yeah, well, seems to be a good guy. Let's do it. Go ahead with him. But to be dead honest, I haven't seen that because I never seen him really before on the road. I raced against him myself in 2005 on my last Dortmund 6-day race when he came as a world champion with Rob Hales, and he was absolutely useless in my eyes.
It's always quite easy to be wise 10 years after. I mean, but in that situation, I mean, we didn't really know what would happen. Of course, for obvious, Cav, he was a good cyclist, but you would never realize he was a bloke who went like 30 stages in Tour de France. I got the feeling the whole team, from the best rider to the bus driver, knew now we really got the 6-shooter on our head. Now we have to perform or it's over.
We had a combination there with Cavendish, Greipel and Degenkolb. You know, both all top guys in the sport. What made the biggest difference in that team was like, it was always all for one. It was not like, you know, on a lot of teams you go out there and they have the meeting and say, you know what, today, well, you have your chance, go into a breakaway, try and go. And that was never, ever our approach. It's like, if today was our best chance to win this bike race, and everybody else supports it. It wasn't such as like, oh, you have a free roll, yeah, let's go, let's try. No, it was very clear. It's like, this is the plan and we're going to execute it. And if it wasn't for Kev, then it was for somebody else. But that meant we expected Kev to help this person as well.
I think we was the first team ever who really did development in bikes, aero testing, aero suits. I know Brailsford Sky probably tried to take the honor for that one, but Bob and Aldag was the first guys who really did it, you know. Our mechanic, Mr. Teutenberg, he started testing the tires. I mean, roundabout, water, going circles, and you see when he crashed. So end of the day, we ended with the best tire ever.
I mean, every team was looking for, the marginal gains, like Sky would call it, and we were definitely one of the first teams looking really into aerodynamics and having like the best equipment you can have.
You know, Mark is still growing and developing and changing. A lot of these guys are young. So Mark's been at the top of the sport now for a couple of years. He's one of the sport's most well-known figures. And I think we're constantly seeing an ever-evolving, ever-improving, ever-growing Mark Cavendish. And that's part of the fun of it.
I mean, Cav and Bob has started quite good, didn't it? You know, when Cav was young, happy family. The last year was like relationship, non-existing disaster.
What's Bob like to work for, Bob Stevens?
I don't want to, yeah.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
Would Mark have stayed if we would have continued on that level? No, I think it was the time for him to move on for 2012 because there was this huge national sponsor, you know, with Sky that was just jumping on him. He was world champion.
I mean, everything's starting gonna end also, and of course with Sky they didn't have a budget, you know, that we couldn't follow. I mean, our riders was getting better and better. I remember we discussed it. Maybe we could have kept with our budget Tony Martin. That was it. So I think Cav did what he had to do. He went to Sky and he learned the lesson.
I mean, we tried everything. We went into the tour with Skype on one arm, with Google on the other arm to give them exposure, you know, to try to pull them over the line, which just couldn't because I think everybody just found it a crazy idea to invest into cycling. It might be different now, we might be in a better spot. If somebody wants to try, well, he can call Bob.
I would say Bob, he was probably the first guy who brought something new into cycling. And I think Bob, he probably regret it ended like it ended. And I still have on and off contact to Bob. I'm seeing him every year in Tour of California. We talk about it. But like, yeah, I think he would have more to offer to cycling.
I think we can't really bring it back anymore, because when I look back, we can see like Valerio Piva or Alan Piper doing their part in BMC. So they were a key factor in our team back in the day in HTC. Same time with Rolf and Bob. And I just met Bob in California. It was just great to see him, and just way more relaxed, and he misses cycling, but at the same time I think he's pretty happy not having a team and the pressure and the headache around it.
What I think Bob should be super proud of, and I'm also proud of, with the help from everybody. If you think about that, not a single guy from that team was left out without a job in cycling afterwards. Like every soigneur, every mechanic, every office person, every sport director kept his job in cycling, a job in cycling.
For me at that time, I was so interested in how far these guys could go, these kids could go, and to see Mark's opening sprint of Tour of Mediterranean was something that will stay with me forever. Training camp when he kicked in his first lead-out practice in training camp in Mallorca, incredible moments. Things that stick with you 10 years later.
We were all kids, like we were all just young guys, and with old guys like George and that, like. We were friends, more than teammates, we were friends. And that was something, like I have had nice times in teams like in Dimension 8, and now I have really a lot of fun, But High Road, we were real friends, just going out and just enjoying riding our bikes together. I never felt that in another place since. It was a special atmosphere. So.
That's all for this week. Join us next time on inCycle. But until then, keep up to date with us across social media.